Deuce Close. Mastering Madden.
It looks like Cover 3 is the go-to coverage shell for online games so far, especially with better players in the game, making some crazy adjustments that really make it a lockdown defense. So I really want to discuss some route concepts with you guys that we can use to attack it in the passing games, because I want all of you to benefit. I'm going to restrict myself to using only hot routes, so you should be able to use any of these concepts in any playbook in the game. You know, I did a video like this last year and you guys seem to take pretty well to it, so I'm really excited to do it again. Of course, because coverages work a little bit differently in this game compared to Madden 19 and Madden 17 before it, a lot of these concepts will be brand new and some of them won't necessarily carry over. What I hope that you guys get from this is to start to fundamentally understand what tends to work against Cover 3, B, to add concepts to your gameplay so that your opponent can't really key on some of your tight tendencies, so you can really broaden your playbook and broaden your scope of how you attack these cover 3 coverage shells. And C, to make your good plays even better. For example, if you have a nice concept on one side of the play with a unique route, so maybe you have a flooding concept with a nice corner route that, you know, it isn't a hot route, but you want a decent second option on the left side too, so that if anything breaks down on your first reads, you can still have a decent second read. Now, so with these hot routes that I'm going to show you in this video, you can definitely do that. Now, you can still definitely be successful with just these hot routes, as you know, I use them all the time and they work really well for me and I've become comfortable with them. I even did this in past games where I would just come out in verticals every single play and just make the adjustments on the fly that I needed to. Yeah, you know, not only is this really useful, you can get a lot of yards and score a lot of touchdowns with it, but it's actually a lot of fun too, and it really puts you in control. So without further ado, let's get started. By the way, if you guys love this video and if you leave a lot of likes, I'll definitely make another video for Cover 2, maybe Cover 4, and you know, maybe even man coverage going forward, just beating them with just hot routes. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with a bang. We're gonna go in a nickel Cover 3 sky, kind of a standard, probably the most standard Cover 3 there is. And so yeah, this is a nickel 245 and this is the Legends team, so really a lot of high zone coverage players in there. And what I'm going to do is, just because of how simple it is and how nice it is to read, I'm going to come out in a 2x2 spread look for some of these, and then the other ones will be a 1x3 spread look with this tray Y ISO. So we'll go ahead and spread flex weak, and like I was saying, like, you know, when I would do this, I would just come out in 4 verticals every play and just make the necessary hot routes. Now, of course, this is going to be better if you have a conductor quarterback, so you don't have to wait around too much, but you know, you can usually get these in time anyway. Actually, you can always get them in time unless you're really coming out of the play call screen late. So 4 verticals. Now, what I've found is, again, with some of these crazy match concepts that are implemented this year, even in Cover 3 Sky, which in my opinion shouldn't have any match concepts. This should just be straight up spot drop, and we should leave that to Cover 3 match and some of the other 3-man high blitzes there are. That's just my opinion. I don't think there should be any of that here. Now, what we can do for a really simple one-play touchdown is, out of a 2x2 spread look, like I was saying, all we have to do is just put our strong side our strong side slot receiver, the number 2 there, on a streak or even a fade if you want. Those are both hot routes, of course. You're gonna put the number 1 receiver on that side on a smart routed out route. So triangle square left, triangle square R1 to put him on that smart route. And then on the weak side, the slot receiver there, we'll put him, he's kind of in this inward breaking route, but you know, again, we want to do this with hot routes. I'm going to put him on a streak or even a fade, because this is going to draw that safety a little bit closer towards him, and it gives Allen a little bit more room. So now what's going to happen against just a simple Cover 3 called, okay, so no adjustments made, so i.e. almost all of the low tier players and many of the mid tier players, maybe on the occasion a top tier player coming out in this and not making any adjustments, you'll have a score here, because what's going to happen is this slot cornerback on the strong side or the close side of the field to the boundary here, he's going to jam Allen And because of that, the cornerback actually thinks that Antonio Brown is the first deep route and that he has to man match him. But what's going to happen, he's going to man match him to the outside, and Allen, once he's done getting jammed, he's going to go and he's going to run free. So it's going to look something like this. And you get your easy one-play score. Okay, so that's something that I would check out almost every game, see what your opponent is doing. If he's coming out with that, well, there you go. There's your free one-play touchdown, exploiting some of these bad match rules that have been implemented. But usually, I would say somebody's doing some sort of adjustments. So one of the big adjustments to make is, and what I found actually with cover 3 this year is there are a ton of variations. Not even looking at the hook curls, which, by the way, I never really attack because that's where the user is, and it's just so unpredictable. We don't even touch that. But these curl flats, not only, okay, they can be curl flat. It can also be a seam flat, but I won't go into that. No one will be there. You know, you can do hard flats. You can shade up again. You can do cloud flats. And then when you protect the sticks with quick adjust and L1, so triangle and L1, each of those coverages works a little bit differently. So you have curl flat, cloud flat, and hard flat, which are 3 coverages, 3 different assignments for that slot defender. And each of those has a adjustment to it if you protect the sticks. But none of those play the same from what I can see. So that's 6 different ways that you can do that right away. Not to mention, you know, the seam flat that could come in there, or if they do something crazy with that defender. So a lot can happen there, but I think we can kind of group a lot of them and make these concepts work. So we don't even really need to do too much reading there. Oh, is it a cloud flat or curl flat? I've kind of made these concepts so that we don't have to do too many reads. We can just throw the ball once we see an opening. So a lot of times, actually, pretty much every single other adjustment they make, so if it's protect the sticks, or they change their flats to cloud flat, or what have you, or even with something like a base align, that slot corner isn't going to be able to make a jam on that slot wide receiver, and because of that, the cornerback is going to make the right read, and he's going to sink deep and cover that number 2. So it'll be just like this. And in that case, he'll get good coverage and make an interception. Okay, so that's something that if you're not already good at, for me, that's my biggest key against cover 3. What is that slot defender doing? Is he jamming my slot receiver, or is he shooting outside? Now, so, you know, if he's shooting outside, which is, again, everything but a stock curl flat, he's going to shoot outside. We're going to have the seam to work with. We're not going to have that one-play touchdown, unfortunately, but we'll have the seam to work with. So what we'll do then, essentially, is we'll keep the same kind of combination, smart routed out route to the left. We'll have the streak. Again, this is working with the strong side towards the boundary. Over here on the other slot, we'll have another streak. And again, that's really just to hold the free safety a little bit. Or again, we can do a fade. And this Todd Gurley, I leave him just on this route. But if you don't have that route stock in your play, the curl is also really good. Because what that's going to do is just going to suck in this hook curl a little bit and give us more room. So we're going to be looking for that seam on the strong side to Allen here. And you got to kind of develop, I think for me, it's really right when I see him clear past that strong inside linebacker there, I'm going to throw an inside pass lead to Allen. It's going to look something like this. Oh, all right. So we got the okay, so let's just make the right adjustments here. Smart router out, streak, fade, and I'll just do a protect the sticks here. And so that's going to leave that slot defender free, and we're just going to wait to clear that strong linebacker, inside pass lead, and just a possession catch, just like that. Now, of course, you're going to want your best possession catch receiver there, because sometimes those cornerbacks and safeties can lay a pretty big boom. You should be pretty far away, like I showed you there, from the safety, but the cornerback actually does a pretty good job of coming in. Now, this should be a lot more open at this stage of the game in Ultimate Team, because the defensive backs are nowhere as good as this team that I'm playing here. Let's see if I can show an instant replay there. So, again, this is what you're looking at right here. This is always going to be your key against cover 3. I mean, at least for what I'm going to be showing you for these coverage concepts. So we see him drift out. We're not going to get a bump. He's going to get a free release down the seam. Years past, actually last year, you couldn't do this because the coverage, 91 zone coverage was so good. I basically waited for this linebacker to kind of sit on that running back route, and I threw that inside pass lead and just possession caught it. And got how many yards? 20 yards, I'd say, or so. And it was really quick, right? And kind of, away from where any user would be. What I would watch out for, now, if you have identifier, that's really nice. You always got to kind of keep an eye on where the user linebacker is. I feel like he's usually over on, I guess I can't really say what he usually is. But if he's over here, I would kind of watch for that. In which case, if he is just in a simulation here, we'll man him up on that slot receiver. If he gives you a lot of room underneath, well, you have that running back there and you can get an even easier 15 yards or so. Okay, so that's really the first main kind of combination of concepts there. Again, I'll show you here. It's a smart routed out route, a streak, curl, and that other streak to just hold that safety a little bit. And it's there for that one play touchdown. If they're just coming out in stock cover 3, easy stuff. If they're not and they're leaving you that seam, you can throw that seam for easy 20, 25 yards. And then, of course, you have the curl to either suck in that linebacker or to be another option underneath. So I really like that one a lot. Of course, if you don't want to spend too much time making these hot routes, you might want to look for a play that's similar to this. I know there's a lot that have this combination, at least the out and up. And so you shouldn't have to make too many. Actually, if you're using verticals, you don't even have to change this running back here. Okay, so that's that one play, and then the seam buster. Now the other one that I like is we can just straight up do this on the other side, and that is let's go ahead and switch the field here. You can really do this to either side. This is one I've been using for 4 years now against cover 3. This is great against baseline, and this is great against the stock cover 3, where that slot defender is going to get preoccupied with that slot receiver, and you can just throw that 10-yard out route. I think this one's pretty well known by now, and that's super easy stuff. And I especially like it in 2-minute drill or whatever. You can get 10 yards really easily, and you can stop the clock 4 or 5 seconds, something like that. So yeah, you have that out and streak, but again, you have to watch out for that slot defender. So if I put him in a cloud flat, he's going to drift right underneath that out route and make a play on the ball. But, if it's a base align, now nickel base align, this is a different story. But if it's base align, say to the other side here, to the weak side, where that linebacker has a lot of distance to travel, you should be able to squeeze it in. Okay, so keep an eye on that if they're base aligned. But yeah, otherwise, you have that. So that's the up and out. Another concept, the same kind of concept, but a little tweak to it, and that I showed you a few videos ago when I was showing you how we can use the forced outside release go route to torch cover 3 press, is this sort of thing where, again, you have a streak from your slot, but you have a comeback from your outside receiver. And what's cool about this, you can get it out there even quicker. And this will work to the weak side to the far side and to the close side. But you're just going to wait for this little delay on the comeback route. The cornerback is going to drop 5 yards or so and give you a ton of space. And you can just pretty much just catch that and throw that to the outside and then rack catch that. So what I like about this compared to that out route is that we can get the ball out much quicker. So if you're coming up against a really good pass rush, you have that option. But this one, it also has potential to break it, if the user clicks on. So let's just show you how that looks like that. So this one's also about 10 yards or so. But if you have a bad user that clicks on and then tries to make a big hit on you and misses, you have the potential to turn that around for a big play. And I've definitely had that happen a lot of times. So let's show that again. Oops. A big mistake that I sometimes make is I try to throw too early when the quarterback hasn't set his fingers on the ball yet. So you see that, even that, against the CPU, we're able to get 15 yards or so. So that's kind of the same concept, just a different little tweak on it. So you have the smart routed out in a streak, and you have the comeback with the streak. And I usually like to do this if there's a little bit more space. You can also do that to this side here, just like that. Okay, so no problems there. You can also do the smart routed out over there. But again, you have to watch that slot defender. So in that case, it worked out. In this case, say let's even just leave the curl flats, but we're protecting the sticks. So if he doesn't jam and he drifts underneath, do not bother throwing that. Sometimes, I don't think you could even get away with. So if we say protect the sticks, and we're trying the comeback route here. Interesting. He won't change his assignment. Let's just go ahead and snap that. That was interesting. Wonder if there's something there. Okay, sticks. Yeah, I can't put him on a comeback route. That is bizarre. Anyway, I would think that it wouldn't work anyway. Now, what I like to do to make this really good, so what I was basically saying that there is if they do anything but the stock curl flat, this is not really usable. But here's what I like to do instead. So instead of a streak from the slot, we put them on a curl. Okay? And we also put our halfback on a curl. So smart routed out or comeback, then a curl and another curl. So what that's going to do is, again, this is going to hold that slot defender so we can kind of take it to the outside. Whoops, I put them in a... So if they do anything differently, let's set that up again. So say if they protect the sticks, we know that protect the sticks will go out there underneath that out route and then it'll cut them off. But since we have that, and then we have the running back on a curl here, which is going to hold that strong linebacker, we're going to have a big opening for our slot receiver right there for 15, and then we can probably turn it upfield for another 5 or so. So you have options there. So let's say, again, what I was saying before, if we have a user linebacker over here and he takes that slot receiver, just like that, well, you have your running back there. He can't cover 2 of those guys at the same time. And though I'm not naive, sometimes they can bait you, it is pretty far from each other. Okay, so I really like that. So that kind of ties up that whole concept with the out or the comeback being the main thing there that you want to hit. But I think it's better to use 2 curls here on the strong side to give you another option if things break down. Now, of course, you can, if you're trying to hit the seam anyway, like I showed you with the first concept, you can do it that way as well. And that kind of rounds up the 2x2 set. I think those are 2 similar, but for me, they're fundamentally different, those 2 concepts. And then for the last one that I want to show you guys, I'm going to come out in the 1x3. So tray Y ISO, and we'll also go with 4 verticals here. And we'll also go with the same nickel 245 cover 3 sky. And what I of course like to do is put my trips to the field. Always like to give more space. And what I showed, I actually demonstrated this last year, and I've been using this year. I really like it. So the combination is a slant combination. So this first slant is, a user's dream. They always go right to that. Or, even if the user isn't there, it's going to suck in that strong side linebacker. You have a flat that's going to take away this slot cornerback here, and then you're going to have a slant in the middle there. So you're gonna hit them, and then you're gonna rack catch it out and turn that upfield. Sometimes you can turn it upfield for really big yards, especially if you have a Tyreek Hill or something like that. So I'll show you that right now. Okay, so in that case, it wasn't too great. If you are a user linebacker over here, which I guarantee you is going to be on this route, and let me just get off of him, you're going to have a lot more space. something like that, and then maybe you can make these guys miss. So I really like that a lot. Now this gets much better. So say if I protect the sticks, I believe you should have even more room there. So that's nice right there. Say if you're working against a hard flat, you'll have even more space again. So this is going to be great on those short yardage plays. And so then of course you can also put this Julio Jones on just a regular in, and that it might give you a little bit of a delay and might create a little bit more spacing. So sometimes I'll do that. Actually, some of my plays that I use have that anyway, so I kind of minimize some of my hot routes, but that works nicely. But even better is you can put that number 1 on a smart routed in, so he's going kind of 12 yards or so. So especially if you're 3rd and long, you don't want to worry about throwing underneath, or you're 3rd and 15, something like that. He's going to go right to that first down marker, and it's going to be a nice easy catch. So I'll show you again. You'll have this guy kind of usering usually the first thing that comes right underneath. You can even probably put him on a streak, and then you can just find that nice hole there. Easy stuff. And then you can do what I've been seeing a lot lately, where people just catch, spin, and go, because you have a lot of room there. That's probably my favorite one out of all these. It works really, really well. I'll show you also, I don't know, let's try protect the sticks. See how that works. You got even more kind of room there. That time I would say don't do what I just did. Sometimes I try to do an inside pass lead. You usually gain nothing from that. I would really stay away from the inside pass lead. Just throw the ball. Sometimes even with a backwards pass lead, just to make sure that you kind of get in there. So you see how huge of an opening you have there. And what's good about it is the user's usually never out there. So you're kind of just playing with the CPU at that point. Again, maybe we'll show you with a hard flat is going to be great against really aggressive players. You can just throw that in there. Easy pitches and catches. There's another little concept that I've started to bring back from Madden 17 that I used to use, and it's good on this weak side here where there's only 2 routes, and if we want something to kind of to mix in with this, where we're not just hitting that 3-man combination every time, is kind of like a curl flat concept, but it's a wheel flat. And this of course works better with when you're closer to the boundary, so that wheel route from the running back can turn upfield quicker. And again, the wheel route is just triangle, triangle, and up on the right stick. I got a lot of questions on how you make some of these adjustments. The smart routes are there. You just need to read where they are. So essentially, you just make the read. So say if I protect the sticks like a lot of people do, that wheel route should be pretty open underneath for a few yards. Now, you have to be careful there for the big hit. And I feel like that's kind of become a theme. But you can definitely get that nice, easy 5 yards or so. And then if they're really aggressive, you always have the curl here. That, what you just saw there, showed me that cornerback was matching. And as soon as you see a matching cornerback, you know that very first thing I showed you with that one play touchdown is going to work. So let me protect the sticks and take that off. And we'll show you that we can easily hit that curl route. So that's that wouldn't be my bread and butter, but it's nice to have something that's actually usable on that side when our bread and butter is this slant. How good is that? Okay, so that's it. I hope this works well for you. Definitely check it out. I don't see why not, because you can definitely put in a lot in any of your playbooks, and I really hope that they help you. If they did, come back, leave a comment. I'd definitely like to know how they work for you. I'm still going to be developing them a little bit against cover 3 and especially against cover 2 and 4, because I really want to get that out to you guys. If you want to see that, definitely drop a like, and I will see you guys in the next one.